Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show that I'm not saying a lot of people saw it. Probably no one's going to see this one, except for the ones that commented. Now, I did get comments about the idea of give this show a name, because before this, the name of the show was Debate of the Week, and I rarely did them because I'm not like one of those more high end wrestling podcasters or reviewers. I'm not. Very rarely I do any type of reporting unless it's something important. But I thought, you know what? Why not? Maybe once a week I'll do this extra video with if there's any news that I've heard from any other news, any news outlets for wrestling or one of the other podcasts and give my interpretation of what the situation is. So I thought about it. What would be the best name? And I'm still not sure if this name that I'm going to choose is, because who's the guy's name? James Gall. And that's Gale. I'm bad with names, dude. If I got your last name wrong, I'm sorry. But he did mention, why don't you call this? He said he liked the show, which I thank you. If you see this, thank you, dude. Thank you. But he mentioned, why don't you call this ZWNN? Zane's Wrestling, what is it? Zane's Wrestling News Network. And I thought, that's kind of cool. But then I thought, wait a minute, it seems a little too long. ZWNN, it doesn't really roll off the tongue. So I thought, what would be simple, to the point, and not many people are using it in wrestling, I believe. So I thought, why not just do ZNN? Zane's News Network. I'm not sure I'm going to use that. I will probably put it in the title. ZNN episode, more maybe ZNN 1. About who he is or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this yet. What this video is going to be called. Who is the surprise at Revolution? Maybe I'll call that Who is the Surprise at Revolution ZNN episode 1. Maybe that might be it. I don't know. Leave a comment below. I'm not sure. But I'll probably call it that. Now, while I was watching this episode of Crossroads, I was thinking about who could it be. Now, admittedly, I forgot because I heard, Paul White, I almost called him Big Show, Paul White say a Hall of Fame. And I thought maybe it might have been a Hall of Fame guy or girl. And I got a piece of paper and I wrote down the names that I thought while I was also still writing my notes for the show. And I realized that, was it Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame worthy? Because I remembered. So I had to find a way to review it. So what I did after the show was over, I had to go to one of the sites I know that usually have small chunks of the show. And I tried to look for it, and I did. And I did hear him say, at Revolution, a Hall of Fame worthy talent will be signing to AEW. Now the question is going to be, who's that? Now, before I thought it was Hall of Fame, the people that I thought might show up, here's a list I came up with. I thought, who could it be? Anybody Hall of Fame worthy. If they're already Hall of Famers. I thought, and this is only if they do show up. Batista was one. Even though he said he was done with WWE, he was done with wrestling, maybe he wants to try something new because he was never going to be booked the way he wanted. He said himself in a documentary, I wanted a certain way to go out. I didn't really get it 100% the way I wanted. So it could be Batista. But then I realized when they said worthy, no. I thought also Sabu. I don't believe he's in the Hall of Fame, but he's worthy to be in any Hall of Fame. RVD is worthy to be in the Hall of Fame. He's been around long enough to have it. I thought either Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, The Rock, I know he would never do it. He's a total actor now. So I doubt he would actually want to risk getting himself hurt of near 50 years old because he's only 2 years younger than I am. I am 50, he's 48. I mean, he could still go for another year. But I don't think he'd want to risk hurting himself, particularly that he's still doing movies. Stone Cold Steve Austin, but then it's obvious he wouldn't do it because he has his broken skull. It would be shocking that Stone Cold Steve Austin would forget about his broken skull podcast and leave what he's getting with WWE, being on the network, and do this. I mean, he can get some good money, but then he would have to get his neck fixed, which he could, but I doubt he would do that. I'm sure many people would say, what about The Undertaker? Well, that's also a big question. He could be there, but I didn't write him in my notes because I really don't know if he would really do it. Undertaker is a very loyal guy. And even though he has his opinions on how the product is, and he did say in a product with Joe Ross? I can't remember his name. No, Joe Rogan, sorry. That the product currently is soft. I don't think that he would turn on Vince. But you would think that with Big Show as well. So you don't know. The person that really came to my mind, the first person, was CM Punk. Now, many people have been rumoring him for years to go. And to be honest, it would sound like maybe he would be. But if he's not, these are the other people I think might be worthy enough to join. We have JBL. Now, I know JBL is with WWE, but I don't know if he's constant. So it's a possibility he may go. Ron Simmons. He's not generally working with the WWE in the foreground. I think he might have a job in the back, but I'm not sure, but he might not. If he doesn't have no job in the back, he could be there. And I think it would be a great thing if Ron Simmons shows up on AEW as the WCW champion at one point. I would love to see Ron Simmons. And if he shows up, who guessed it? Anyone who sees this and hears that it's Ron Simmons who's at Revolution, you tell everybody that a tiny little podcaster like myself figured out before anyone else. Because it would make sense if they could get Ron Simmons. Because he's a former WCW champion, the first black world heavyweight champion. He would be the best person there. Next to also really helping the younger talent and, if you want to be honest, helping the black talent there to really understand that you can get somewhere, that he wants to be inspiring to them as well. I mean, he'll inspire everybody. That's how Ron is. But when it comes down to it, Ron will always inspire everyone. But he doesn't just think about just black people. He thinks about everybody. Look how he was with JBL. And you could say a lot about JBL, him being a dick, and he is. But those two have made it very clear. If they were not by blood, they are now. JBL will never leave Ron Simmons' side. He loves him like a brother. He legitimately loves him. And Ron loves him back. So I will see it in that respect. That's just me. Other people that you would think that might be willing to go. Now, I thought of Bully Ray. Now, Bully Ray is already a Hall of Famer. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't remember if he actually went into the Hall of Fame. I don't remember. I think he did, but I'm not sure. No, yeah, he did go in with Devon. He did. My mistake. So, I thought Bully Ray, but then it's like he's a Hall of Famer already, so I'm not sure if he would do it. Then for the women, I thought Tara. Victoria, as she was known, from WWE, and Tara from Impact Wrestling. That woman is a Hall of Famer. For that, she should be in one already. But since she did perform on WWE TV, I don't know if she has a contract. I think she does. So it's hard to say. You got Velvet Sky and Angelina Love from Impact Wrestling. Easily, they could be Hall of Famers. You can say a lot about Velvet, and you could say a lot about Angelina Love, but they also could be Hall of Famers. They've been in that company. They made their mark. Let's be honest. The Knockouts division from TNA was bigger. Not by scope of numbers, but by how they booked their women better than WWE before they did NXT. Because let's be honest. The only ones they had was Lita. They had only Mickie James. And the most best people for me personally was Lita, Trish, Mickie James, and Victoria. Yes, you had more than a few other people like Molly Holly. I just feel that those are the strongest ones that I know that really meant a lot. And I don't think Kelly would go there. I just don't think she would go there. But you never know. This is a big question mark. Who could it be? Is it a male or is it a female? If it's a female, it would have to be someone that really has a very, very strong showing in wrestling. Very strong showing. Who has made their mark in wrestling. So I don't know who that be. You guys can tell me below who you think as a woman would be the best if they got a female talent who is Hall of Fame worthy. Now for the guys, there's so many. I can't even begin to figure out who it is. honestly, the best person that could really help there would be Ron Simmons, because he was a former WCW champion. A lot of people still remember him. CM Punk, obviously, many people have been talking about him for years. For years. They really believed that he could have made a mark. And, well, the only other person I can think of that could make really a difference, not in performance in the ring, but really being well known, would also be Batista. Not saying that he would really move the needle a lot, but he does have fame from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very hard to say. Very hard to say if any one of these people that I stated is going to be. It could be, hell, weirdly enough, there's one person that would shock everyone to their fucking core. That if he went there, that it would shake Vince McMahon. He would lose his shit. He would not be able to handle it. And his brand that currently here, I'm sorry. If you really want to speculate who would be the most worthy talent for Hall of Fame, for all that he's done, no matter if you like how he's done it or not, it would be John Cena. If John Cena, I'm not saying he would, because John Cena might never break away to another company. But let's be honest. John Cena was booked heavily by Vince for years. Years. John Cena in certain cases has buried new talent. Mostly due to the fact how Vince booked him, and others because, hell, he didn't always want to sell. Not all the time. I'm not saying John Cena in real life is a bad guy. He's probably a nice guy, but we're talking about the wrestling business, and he's going to be cutthroat just like everybody else, just like Hogan, just like Austin. He's going to do what he thinks is right for himself, and he'll cut the throat of somebody. But as it stands, the last few years, he wanted to put over younger talent. He made it clear he wanted younger talent to be put over for more than a few years, and Vince did not book him the way he wanted. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going back to WWE by WrestleMania. There's a possibility he will, but there have been many rumors saying that since he's working where he is, and I believe he's working in Canada, for him, he can't do it. Due to the fact that if he's currently working in Canada, which he is, to be able to come to WrestleMania, and he has to quarantine for 2 weeks, then come, and then quarantine again to go back to his shoot, it's going to mess up the shoot for the movie he's shooting. So if it's true, he's not going to be there. But does not mean John Cena may not really want to continue with WWE, particularly seeing how things have happened. Look how look how Vince has treated his workers, his wrestlers, his production crew, his writers. Right now, no one's getting a bonus. No one's getting a raise. No one is getting an increase in their position. The wrestlers, they can't go on Cameo. They can't do anything on Twitch. They can't do anything at all with YouTube. And there's some wrestlers like Sami Zayn who does charity, especially for Saudi, what is Israel or Saudi Arabia? I can't remember. But even he can't do anything because he's barred, because that's a third party, and he can't do anything unless the WWE allows it. And to be honest, I doubt they will. So their wrestlers are being treated like shit, real bad now. They used to have full reign, and that publicity helped the company. Now, Vince only wants it the way he does. And maybe that might have been enough for John Cena to say, you know what, I'm done. He may never come back. Vince may have called and he might have been lying, saying, or he's telling the truth, that he just can't come because he needs to do his movie. He's going to be quarantined in America once he comes from Canada. Once he finishes, he's got to go back and quarantine again where his movie is shooting. He can't do that. That's millions of dollars lost. No, tens of thousands of dollars lost, not millions. Tens of thousands of dollars lost for the days he can't work. So he may not do it. But if that is true, that doesn't mean he's going to work with WWE. Last year might be it. He may never work with WWE again, or he will. But the person that could really move the needle in shock of wrestling fans, ones that grew up in the 2000s, into the 2010s and the 15s, when John was still mostly active, he would truly move the needle because, one, it will shake Vince to his core, and he may never 100% recover because he built up John Cena. He did. So this is my thoughts about it. And I hope you enjoy this. I don't even know if I'm going to use ZNN. This is Zane's News Network. I don't even know if I'm going to use the title. Tell me below if he sounds... Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.